Welcome to the Hump Day Midweek Fun Astrology Podcast for June 22nd, 2022. Thomas Miller, thanks for joining us. We have a sign change. Today, Venus moves into Gemini. It's not until tonight, really, 8:35 Eastern Time. So we still have a Taurian Venus at 29 degrees for the rest of today. But then it does move into Gemini. I'll come back to that here in just a second. My little Gemini rising brain is bouncing around. Remember that today we still have, for those of you early birds, the sun is still at its solstice declination until 8:30 Eastern Time this morning. 23 degrees, 26 minutes. After 8:30, it starts its way back down. But if you catch that morning meditation, if you catch a sunrise meditation today, you're going to be in that same declination of the sun. Okay, back to Venus. Sorry, I just had to drop that before I forgot. Back to Venus moving into Gemini. So what does this mean? Well, I tend to think that many times, not always, but often, when a planet moves from a sign that it rules into the next sign, it's a little awkward. It's a little grumpy. In other words, it's like you if you've been kicked out of your house ever. I don't know if you've ever have. I never had. But if you got kicked out of your house all of a sudden, well, I got kicked out of, I guess I did get kicked. It's awkward where the next thing is awkward. You're off your roots. You don't know where stuff is. You're fumbling around. You're trying to get your footing again. Now, I'm just kind of looking at this Venus ingress into Gemini, though, as, Mercury's there. And Mercury is very at home in Gemini. So it's almost like you've got two fast-moving planets. These two know each other well. And it's almost like Mercury is kind of like, hey, come on in over here. So let's play with two possible scenarios. First of all, find Gemini in your chart. And then, regarding money, regarding love, regarding balance, aesthetics, art, etc., all of those Venus areas, that maybe now it goes from that grounding, that digging our toes into the soil in Taurus, into outward expressions, into more connectedness. Maybe the plurality, the duality of Gemini, the twin, two. Maybe there's more than one of something going on in one of those areas for you. What would it look like on the shadow? Confusion. Just the ping pong ball, like I can't get grounded. I just was grounded. Now I can't get grounded. What would it look like on the positive side? New things coming in those areas. Or, as we said, multiplication, increase, new knowledge around financial stuff. That happened to me yesterday during solstice. I got to say, I was sitting there looking at the market stuff, and I just sat right through solstice. But I was so connected internally that I was getting exactly what I was supposed to get because I came up with a whole new trading technique that dropped in exactly during the hour of solstice. So I was doing what my heart wanted to do. You think, well, you should have been doing Kundalini. You should have been meditating. You should have been singing Om or something. No, I was doing my heart was following my heart early in the morning. And that's exactly what it wanted to do. And voila, there was a new technique just waiting. So it's that kind of thing, that multiplication, new discoveries, new knowledge and awareness that is so Gemini. So we're still at 29 degrees for most of the day, but as it closes in on 8:30 Eastern tonight, we will start that transition, and then you'll have actually a pretty quick transit. July 17th is when it ingresses on into Cancer. So pretty quick one, but take advantage of it. Oh, and taking advantage of one other thing, let me just put this out. Speaking of Venus, it's in the morning sky still, along with Mars, and the moon is up there right now, and Jupiter. So you can see a great show in the morning sky if you're up early. All right, got one other thing I'd like to just sneak in here real quick from Mindy. A question about our financial program on Saturday. She said, thank you, we'll keep it up, absolutely. And she was asking if this could be a 7-year cycle. So that would take us, well, depending on when the cycle started, 2027, 28, 29, 30, and through there. Big macro picture, we still are under the 250-year Pluto cycle that culminated with Saturn and Pluto in January of 2020. Then a very key cycle that W.D. Gann incorporated into his financial astrology was the 20-year cycle. That was that cycle that said that U.S. presidents didn't do so well on those 20-year cycles. So FDR in 1940 did not finish his term. JFK in 1960 did not finish his term. Reagan broke the pattern, and George Bush broke the pattern. Now, as far as 7-year cycles, we have two influences in astrology for 7-year cycles. One is the Uranian sign change, which happens every 7 years. The last time Uranus changed signs was 2018, so right now it's about halfway through Taurus, so that won't change again until 2025. The other 7-year division would be the Saturn square. So if you think about the Saturn return being at around 29.5, say 28, you've got a 7-year window there approximately of Saturn going 1/4 of the way around the chart. So the Saturn square would be a 7-year pattern as well. Now, the other big thing that we are watching are the solar arc patterns, and those are continuing to unfold, and those are more of a 24, 25, 26 kind of time frame. But if we back it all up to Saturn and Pluto, to me, that was, as I've said, to me it's the equivalent of the ball drop in Times Square in New York City on New Year's Eve. That was the era change. And these other micro moves within that are, yes, certainly cycles. I don't know that we've got a clear marker for a 2022 beginning a 7-year cycle, but certainly if we go back to 2020, that was the pivot point of a new era on planet Earth. And certainly no surprise that astrology has had its own renaissance as that began, and more people all the time are getting interested in this. So if you have friends that are interested, hey, turn them on to the podcast. We'd love to have them listen in and see if they can pick up something from this. Thank you so much, Mindy, for that question. Appreciate it. We'll see you back tomorrow. We've got just a lunar change tomorrow, so we've got a fairly quiet chart after a wonderfully powerful day yesterday.